Hated them all.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our D23. I actually had a meltdown there for a second. I was
Expo.
D23?
It's 23 Ds, yeah.
Yes,
23
this,
Ds.
This year it's 23.
Yes. Welcome back to our D23 Expo coverage. And this is one of the big boys. Of course, the real big boy of the group is...
He's talking about you
Don't
again.
look at me.
The real big boy of the group is tomorrow with Disney Parks, for us at least. But for a lot of people out there, today was the biggest day of the event, potentially even the one for the entire reason why to come to this event at all.
Well, that's kind of why this day sold out first.
Yep, I would definitely agree with that. So what was today, gentlemen? Who wants to say?
Go behind the scenes with the Walt Disney Studios. We learned about all the blockbuster films that are going to be coming out from Marvel and Disney Animation and Pixar and Lucasfilm and not quite 20th Century
No,
Fox
Fox,
yet.
It's weird because they said, oh, we're not quite ready to talk about some of these yet. And I'm like, well, I've seen the trailer. Kingsman comes out in February, and Ford and Ferrari comes out in November, and which you've been showing previews of all weekend. So it's weird that you're not talking about it.
And it was literally in the hype trailer that they showed us before the event actually started. So it made absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah, just time-wise, maybe.
Didn't have time to cut trailers, special trailers.
Well, no, time-wise, it still went a half hour over what it was scheduled. So.
It was already 2 hours long, which toward the end I was starting to be like, this is a long time to be sitting in this one panel.
And they mentioned Avatar. I thought they were going to announce it's being backed up another year.
I will say one thing that before we get into actually what was covered and everything, I am happy that for it's split up now in terms of Parks is the one day, Disney Plus was yesterday, and then all the movies happened today. Mm-hmm. However, that being said, it felt like they really could have stood to use live action on its own, but they almost felt like animation didn't have enough to really warrant its own panel, and that's why we had it like this.
But I felt like they spent so much time on animation in the panel that I did start to think, these probably should have been two different things.
But boy, I'm looking forward to that live action Home on the Range.
Come on, let's not scare people.
I thought it. Overall, and not to skip to the end, but overall, I thought it was big on fun, but lacking in any real major announcements.
There was absolutely no surprises really in this thing at all. So, but you know what? It's also, I don't think you necessarily need the big surprises, but
it was reveals. I mean, some voice cast and people joining films.
And definitely we saw some good clips of films, a couple of which changed my opinion on wanting to see the film.
Which one? We'll get there.
We'll get there. That's my teaser.
Yeah. So I guess the best way, to do this is we'll just go in order for how the entire panel went. I personally could have stood to have the panel as it was just completely reversed and go from animation to the first one, but that's just my feelings on that. But they kicked off the entire presentation with Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and they dived in.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy came on stage, joined by the one.
Why are they calling her Kathy now?
Kathy.
That's because they're chums. Yeah.
Oh, her and Alan are like this.
And then J.J. Abrams came out as well, and I do love J.J. Abrams. And my dream in life was to be in a room with him at least once. And now I've been in a room with him twice.
You're looking for a smaller room, though.
Yeah.
So you had all these fantasies. You had Ewan McGregor. You had J.J. Abrams.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Chris Pratt was in there.
Cigarettes.
I told you should have seen Craig. Craig was grabbing my leg a couple times, just so you know.
Oh, I did grab his leg a couple times, but I mean, I even got excited. I got excited vicariously through Rhino for J.J. Abrams because, it's
I'm obsessed
thanks to Pete. We Rhino and I do have the Sorcerer's passes, as we mentioned before. So we were 5 rows.
Wait, you had the
from
sorcerer's package?
I do.
Wow.
Thank you. And so we were 5 rows from the.
JJ, I
from
didn't.
back,
I
and
didn't
then
even look at the
it was just
screen
in
really.
there.
I just looked at every.
Yeah.
It was just. I was like, they're right there. I'm just gonna keep my eyes locked on them the whole time. So it was cool.
Yeah.
But this panel was interesting. They didn't really. I thought there would be a new trailer, and that's not really what we got. But they brought out the entire cast of the movie, which was a lot of fun, because. Especially cool because considering we went to the 2015 one and it got to see JJ, and that was the beginning of this new generation of Star Wars films, and now this is the end to the Skywalker saga. But they had Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Jason Isaac,
Jason Isaac.
not Jason Isaac. I'm so sorry, Oscar Isaac. Yeah, Lucius Malfoy himself was there.
What?
Sorry,
Kelly Marie Tran.
Kelly Marie Tran.
Eunice Suatoma.
I didn't know how to say his name. Yeah, Kerry Russell, which was amazing.
Yeah.
The young lady who is a new addition to this film, but I can't remember what her name was.
I'm gonna butcher saying it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean I could look it up on IMDb, but I was in the
Anthony
watching people.
Daniels,
And,
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, and then they had all the R2D2 was out there with BB-8, and then that newer, smaller droid. But everyone was. I couldn't hear because everybody's screaming when they said it.
Who
So.
it was.
Yeah, it came. That one first came out in Celebration a couple months back.
I mean, he's in the
already
preview. He's
forgot
in the
the name,
teaser.
yeah.
You can see him in the teaser, but. Everyone pretty much spoke except for Chewbacca and Rose there, and Kelly Marie Tran, and they kind of talked about the movie a little bit. And man, John Boyega loves his job, I think, and I love seeing him in person. We're gonna be married someday, so
Yeah, but the big part
JJ's
of
gonna be jealous.
he'll be at the wedding.
Okay.
yeah, the big part of
Hello.
this one is just that first they did the poster reveal, which I'm sure most of you have seen online, and if you haven't seen it online, then you see it literally right in front of you on the bed there. So that is an epic poster, and then we didn't get what we thought that we would definitely get the second trailer for it, and we kind of did in a way, but it was more a retrospective going into what would eventually be another teaser.
Yeah, very, very. And I actually right before we left for this trip, I randomly was watching Star Wars trailers for all the new films on there. And when Force Awakens came out, there was that trailer that came out like a whole year and a month before. So there was a very limited teaser. And then the next thing after that was a very limited teaser. So this is definitely following that suit. It would be great if they put the footage online, though, because I'm telling, like, goosebumps up and down my body. Breathtaking. The visuals looked amazing. I'm very excited for this film.
And I've been on Twitter. I haven't seen them posting that anywhere, right?
No.
So then, in terms of that, we can't give away any spoilers, but the last image of that little clip it was a clutch your pearls moment.
I mean, the scene that I thought was, this is incredible, is the one that's in this poster. You can see Kylo Ren and Daisy Ridley, Rey fighting each other on this barge that in the video was in water, and I was like, oh, that's it. That's the top peak moment here, and whoo! It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
And I didn't quite understand the significance of that final scene they showed us, but I could tell it was epic to the story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Mystery,
yeah,
for sure.
to be told, no one knows right now unless you're making the movie.
Okay.
So
I
that's-
thought maybe those of you who are more in the
Oh
lore-
No.
That's a curveball for sure.
Yeah.
Every one of these trailers has a little curveball. You had the Emperor at the last one, and then this thing. So
They talked about Carrie Fisher
yeah, that was
and
nice.
talked about Princess Leia. They realized that they couldn't tell. J.J. Abrams said couldn't tell the story without her. They realized, and so they discovered they had enough footage from the previous episode, episode 7.
From 7, yeah.
7, and
Yeah.
it could be used in a different way, so that she does play an important role in the closing of this 40-year saga.
Well, we'll see how much she's actually in
Right.
it, how much footage they actually had there. But so then that was all we got, obviously, with Lucasfilm, and then we moved on to Marvel, and we kicked things off with a big announcement that just fell very flat, in my opinion. So I know
There was an announcement?
I think a lot of us got excited right away because, well, it was going to be something surrounding Black Panther 2.
Right.
Something
Electric
that Rhino
Boogaloo.
would have been very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
pumped for.
Well, yeah, and I was like, oh, they're talking about Black Panther, because Black Panther is definitely my top of the Marvel movies, and Ryan Coogler, the director, came out on stage, and Kevin Feige pulls the script out of his pocket, and he's like, well, should we tell them the title? And he's like, no. Should we tell them the opening scene? No. Should we tell them the villain? No. What should we tell them? And he's like, how about we tell them the date? And Ryan Coogler's probably like, I had to come here to say no 17 times, and that's it, and then walk off stage.
I thought that this was a cute little thing, and then they were going to say, well,
Yeah.
and no,
Here's the cast.
no,
Yeah.
May 6th, 2022.
Yeah, but this is
And they walked
confirmation. We knew there was one coming. They had confirmed it, but we had no idea within the dates when it would be coming. So that was the first of that. So, yeah, that was that, and then they moved on to
The Eternals.
yeah, which
is
was
November 2020.
yeah, and that's cool because I don't really know much about this property, and they didn't really go into that too much, but they introduced the cast and quite a few names in there. It's a very
They all had names. Yes.
Yeah.
they all have very
Well,
unique
Richard
names.
Madden, yes.
Oh,
Selma
Richard
Hayek
Madden,
is
yeah.
in it.
So-
Angelique
Salma Hayek,
Jolie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kamal Nanjiani.
Kit Harington,
He didn't show.
but
They
he's
said he was
not.
in London.
He's not an Eternal though. I don't think. I
Right,
think he's
he's
just
Dan
a character.
Whitman.
Yeah.
non-internal.
So, but that was cool to see them all up on that stage. So now that we've seen them all there, what's also interesting too is I noticed one of them is deaf, and so that I'm curious to see how that plays into the character and what they're gonna do. But I think I always think it's really cool when there are. I don't know why. I think it's because Eli's a sign language interpreter, so I always find it really
Right.
cool. I love seeing people of all different.
Wasn't there a
backgrounds come up.
television show that was terrible, that was sort of like that, and someone was
That
deaf in it, and it was a
Heroes.
Marvel
It
thing.
was a Marvel, but it was Heroes. One of the characters was deaf.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a Marvel thing. It ran one season.
Oh, maybe it was that other one with the girl with the really long hair and
Yeah,
the dog and the
Red.
thing. Yeah, it was It was like canceled before it even started, and like.
Mhm. They premiered it in a movie theater.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I went and
that's-
saw it, and
yeah.
I was the only one in the
Yeah.
theater, so I thought this doesn't bode well.
Yeah, but that's cool, and
We didn't see any footage on that, did we?
no,
No,
just
the
like an
character
opening look.
depictions.
Yeah.
So of what they looked like, it was kind of an animated style on that, but that led into Black Widow, which is
Still being made.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Allegedly.
I guess, yeah,
Apparently.
yeah.
I don't believe the film.
You don't believe? You think they just didn't want to come?
As much as we saw in the trailer, they're probably done.
Well,
Yeah.
it comes out in like February or March. Is it? Do we remember?
I don't
like,
have it written
It's
down.
it's early next. It's the first 3 months of next year, and we were treated. They David Harbour and Scarlett Johansson and Pugh. What's her first name?
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Sorry.
They made a little video for us in a helicopter, like a fun little joke video, whatever. And then they did debut some footage, which was basically a pretty intense fight scene between Scarlet Witch and what is her sister, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And which is crazy because I right when that started, I was like, this has to be her sister. They look so much alike. It's
I
insane.
assumed it was a sister, and I thought, aren't they getting along? But it seemed to be the way they greet each other.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too because it takes place in Budapest, and it'll be interesting to see because she always says she has no family, and all that stuff. So I'm interested in this movie. I want to see how it all ties together, and still no acknowledgement of whether Jeremy Renner's involved at all because we all know that's the running joke is the Budapest joke in the Avengers movie. So I don't know.
Yeah, but we did see an extended clip of sorts, and it was very action packed.
Yeah.
And
We saw the villain, whose name has just slipped my mind, but I literally was just talking about it with somebody, but.
everything's just slipping your mind.
Slip in my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm excited for the movie, but it's like
Taskmaster. Boom, nailed it.
I think for me, it's like most Marvel movies, except like the really, really big tentpole ones. I won't be super excited about it until I see it, and then I'll be like, that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
That's
Although
just-
I'm looking forward to the Black Widow movie. I was really happy when I heard they were making it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
could be good, but that was it from the Marvel section of films, and then from there we moved into Walt Disney Studios, so our live-action Walt Disney films, and
With the best entrances ever.
Yeah.
oh yeah. It was Jungle Cruise that kicked it off,
Jungle
right?
Cruise,
Okay.
yeah, and with and they acknowledge this is based on an attraction, and that they realize generations have loved this attraction, so it's a homage to this attraction, but a homage to Indiana Jones and Romancing the Stone and those type of action films. And but just based on this presentation, this
was-
is
that-
one
that was
of the
so much
two
fun. Yeah.
films where it changed my mind.
Yeah.
About wanting
Yeah.
to see it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't care to want to see
Yeah.
this, but
I mean, this was for
it was
me.
hilarious.
This was basically the presentation. So as soon as at first we thought that it was just going to be Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, coming out because he basically came out on a motorized Jungle Cruise boat that he was hanging off of, waving at the crowd. And of course, we don't have photos and videos of any of this because we're not allowed to in that panel. And eventually, the photos will be released in video clips.
They've
but
been
that's not
starting
yet.
to be
Yeah.
released. Yeah.
Okay, they already
Yeah.
started, but
Yeah.
not when we started this to get them loaded in. So apologize for that. But he's riding this thing out and running up and down the crowd, making sure that he slaps hands with guests, and I was one of them.
Have you washed your hand?
I have, but that's
After
just,
he licked it.
yeah, after I licked it multiple times. But yes,
So you
today
have the DNA.
today I got to touch
He is
Dwayne
The
The
Rock.
Rock Johnson. And
Some people kiss, the Blarney Stone. Some people go and touch Plymouth Rock, but you touch
Dwayne
The Rock.
The Rock
I did.
Johnson.
You can't touch Plymouth Rock.
I
sorry.
did.
But
Oh.
yeah, I will tell you this: the film they showed us. What was fun is like 2 trailers because The Rock was like, it's all about a man saving a woman and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and it's
Yeah.
clear that he was like playing on that. But the vibe I got from the video, it reminds me very much of the Pirates of the Caribbean, like the
Well,
first movie.
In a way, and that's part of the fun of being in there for the presentation with that is because we saw these 2 sides. The first one was basically Emily Blunt's character is almost
The first one
A
was The Rock.
damsel in
Yeah.
distress.
yeah, that's she's
Yeah.
thank
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry. I see where you're going. Okay.
She's a damsel in distress who comes to the Rock for help to help get her and
Yeah.
her brother up the river.
Yeah.
And the Rock has to be there to do that and also save the day along the way. And then out rolls Emily Blunt.
In a
then
cool car.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
Cool old-fashioned car.
and she has to then
Well, it's funny
set the
because-
record straight.
Yeah, because she was like, he was like, you're questioned me 2 years ago at D23. I was here as a demigod Maui, and she's like, an animated demigod. I was literally Mary Poppins, you know.
Yeah.
And so they go back and forth. They have great.
They had
chemistry.
great banter.
Yeah.
Great banter. And then
Even
she says,
if it was scripted, but
well, she
I
says,
don't believe
forget everything you saw. And then there was a whole nother trailer starring her. Even had her name was first in the title credits.
and
Oh, yeah.
and
And
his
a
was
lot
smaller.
bigger,
was,
yeah.
and she was
That was
the
I
heroine.
enjoyed that one so much more.
And she was the heroine in this, doing all the action stuff, and he was just sort of the goofy sidekick.
bumbling around
Yeah,
and
yeah.
swinging on a vine, but not sticking the landing. and
And she
having
goes,
to
well, that didn't
swing
go
back.
very well.
Yeah, it's it was. I loved that they did that, and also for the people in the room then, and I mean everyone else too. It's still that question of like, okay, so which side are they going to take with this? What's going to be the tone of the movie? So,
Well, it's interesting. I particularly like the Rocks trailer a little bit because the opening is him basically
Doing
the spiel
Yeah.
from Jungle Cruise. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
The
but set up in
backside of
that-
water.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
going around and doing the gags and like having like the
hippo came
locals
out.
throw the
Yeah. Yes.
thing, but he has the gun that shoots the wire that pulls the hippo out of the water, and I was like, oh, this is clever. That's clever.
So
yeah.
he obviously that's his gig. He does these fake
Yeah,
tours
yeah.
for
tours, yeah.
tourists.
And I think that's
Yeah.
a great way to
It
roll
is.
that into the property. And now to go from there, it's a nice homage. To that
exactly.
stuff.
I think it's going to be a return to good movies made off of theme park rides.
Yeah, and good and a nice, good old-fashioned summer popcorn adventure film.
Yep.
Because this is coming out in July 2020. Again, I am now really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
As am I. So what was right after that? I'm
Oh,
slipping my mind.
I know why it slipped your mind, because it's Maleficent, Mistress
Oh,
of
Yeah,
Evil.
Greg tuned out.
Sorry, this was the ultimate low of the entire panel, and
Except Michelle Pfeiffer
I'm-
was there.
Hey! Yeah, I was gonna say Michelle Pfeiffer was there
Okay.
with Chewett.
Have you not watched Grease 2? Come
Okay, stop on this one. So basically, yeah, Maleficent 2 coming out very
I booed
soon.
when actually they showed it. Tom can attest. to
And
it.
so basically, yeah, Angelina Jolie's already here for Eternals, so she comes back out. Elle Fanning's there, who plays Aurora, and then
And came out in the weirdest dress ever.
yes, in a big pink bow
That's a
dress that was
bow.
She looked
ridiculous.
like one of the
Was she waiting to be
the fairies or
unwrapped?
something. Yeah, I was
And
like,
then, well, as you mentioned, Michelle Pfeiffer's there, and then Chiwetel Ejiofor, that is basically what did they called him, the Fae something?
Yeah, great. Dark Fae.
The Dark Fae.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a
Maleficent's type of creature,
Yes.
people. Creature,
exactly.
I don't know.
So first they ask Angelina Jolie to kind of like describe the movie and some thoughts on it, and you would have thought that she was not there at any point when they
Well,
filmed it.
Okay, so we
I
were a
wrote
place
down
where
some of it.
I could see the teleprompter.
Yeah.
And you could tell some of them had lines.
Yeah.
And some of them were, say, Angelina talks about the movie. And that was one of those times
Oh,
where
really?
Angelina talks about the
Wait, so The Rock and Emily Blunt was really written?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, they're good actors.
Yeah,
though.
oh, yeah.
But yeah,
That's why they get paid the biggest bucks.
I
But,
will.
yeah.
I will say when Angelina did get down, when finally found the words to what she said, I was kind of like, oh, okay, the themes sound good. I
Yeah,
recently
she
saw
could
that-
not. She never got the words out,
No.
and then they throw it over to Elle Fanning, and you're like, okay, well maybe this will turn around.
She was like,
and then,
I was 14 on the first movie, and then it came out when I was 16, and then I filmed this one when I was 18. Now I'm 21,
and just
and
completely
it's
didn't
nice
answer
to
the
be
question.
a woman.
Yeah,
And I did math.
and
Yeah.
it just felt this touched all the milestones of my life.
And-
Yeah, she was about saying, because she started to say it was something about like becoming a woman and being something with that, and I was like,
Don't think
wait a
we wanna
minute,
know
what?
that.
But what are you tying this into? Also,
And-
I don't think that Philip is the same Philip. By
And-
the way, either,
No,
but-
I was trying to figure that out. It doesn't like the same
No.
young
Yeah.
man.
no.
But then finally, Michelle Pfeiffer gets her turn to talk. And if you guys complain about some of the people that are on our panels that like to say and
oh.
and
Oh,
other
yes.
things regularly
That's what
because
happens when you
we're
don't give
not
them a script.
professionals, Michelle Pfeiffer said or at least
was-
8 or 9 times
was
in the
almost-
first 10
It was
seconds.
almost like they told her, you know what, we're not gonna throw you any lines, and then suddenly they did.
Well, you know what was weird too? She was basically like, I wanted to work with these two. And it was like these weird like pauses. And then I was like, I guess Ejiofor is just like nobody behind you here. But then she was like,
what was that? Sorry.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Choo-choo train Ejiofor was
I'm
he was
sorry.
just kind of like left out, and I'm like, that guy's a screen legend at this point too. I feel like he's been in a ton of movies and Academy Award nominated actor, and she's just like, oh, whatever. And then they sent me the script, and I liked it, and I wanted to be like, and they paid you, like that's clearly what she was saying. Well, they paid me.
It really made me lose a lot of faith in actresses and actors out there because I just. How do they not know what movie they
But they're
just
all,
made?
they're all. This is the thing right now.
Maybe
They're
made
all
it 2 years
Marvel
ago.
live action anime. Like Michelle Pfeiffer now. Everyone on that stage except for Elle Fanning has had the crossover into another property in this.
Yeah.
At least one other
Oh,
property.
my.
I know
Yeah.
they're constantly working, but it really did seem like no one, even Chiwetel, didn't talk about the movie. He said how excited he
Yeah.
was to be a part of it and
Yeah.
how much he loved the first, but that was it. So it really
Do you
did.
know what was the most exciting for me though? When Angelina Jolie walked out and she had the skirt that had like the one slit up the side, and I don't mean this in a weird sexual way, but the Oscar speech that she gave that one time where she had the one leg that was sticking out the
Yeah.
whole time when she accepted the Oscar, all I could think is, I'm like, is this your stick now? You always have that one leg that's always very prominently forward the whole time?
I don't
'Cause
know, but she was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, see,
A little overdressed, but yeah.
I got to see her for the first time with. I know at least Michael was there. I don't know if you went in 2013 at the live action panel
Oh,
when
was
they
it for
announced
Maleficent? One? Oh.
And I mean, we were. I think for that one we were about like maybe like 25 rows back, so you could still kind of see well. But seeing her up close, she was very beautiful, but she just doesn't know what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And then we saw a clip of it, and I don't care to find out what the entire movie is about.
Yeah. I don't know. I am I'm gonna see it probably either way, but I
will
just
too.
I think for me, I personally I feel like it looks better than the first one, but we'll find out. It could be the biggest piece of garbage.
It looks like it's closer to the original story, Maleficent hating everybody.
Yeah, it's
And,
just
because it's. Yeah, I mean, basically the premise is that Aurora is now getting married, and Maleficent doesn't want her to because you'll find out, because she got burned in the first movie,
Yeah.
Maleficent. She doesn't want Aurora to get burned, but Maleficent comes off as angry at Aurora rather than protective, and Aurora says, well, I wasn't asking you, and Moses says, well, I wasn't
Bye,
either.
girl.
And then she goes to meet the in-laws, and that
never goes
really doesn't go well. And then it looks like it just starts a whole civil war kind of thing.
I truly think it's going to be one of those things. If you loved the first Maleficent movie, you're going to probably love this, but who knows? It could take a turn. Like, lots of people loved Alice in Wonderland and then hated Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
I actually thought Through the Looking Glass was better than the Alice in Wonderland, but
I
anyway, what did we?
It's coming
move
out
on
October
to?
18th, just in time for Halloween. So get your Maleficent
The season of the
bustiers ready for trick or treating.
So then it was Mulan.
Mulan,
right?
Yep, coming out March 2020. This is a live action film, and they're drawing from the original legend as well as the beloved Disney film. Too.
Yeah, it was interesting. They only had Nikki Caro out there to talk about it, who's the director, and she spoke about the film a little bit and kind of what it meant to her. And yeah, I know this film is already hitting a little bit of its own controversy, so that's why I don't think they went into much of it or had
What's
the woman there.
I don't know.
It has to do with the Hong Kong police and the issue that's going on there and the protesting, and the main actress as Mulan said something, and now they're backed into a corner, so I think they were trying to avoid all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why they kind of just had the director come out and they were like, but we'll show you a scene.
Yeah, and the scene we saw was, for me, it was mixed, and the first aspect of the scene was trying to go for a more humorous approach, and I thought it fell flat. Just my personal feelings on
The
it.
first scene,
it was.
The weirdest looking spider I've ever seen in a movie.
It was a very bad CGI.
It was
They
weird
have big
because
spiders in China,
Well,
ancient China apparently.
it was a very cartoonish look. Everything was the movements, the whole thing. Like Mulan, it was trying to show that Mulan had was really good at balance and senses and being able to
She had to.
That she was a natural warrior.
Yeah.
You could tell physically.
But
it was the matchmaker scene that is depicted in the film.
Yeah.
In the animated
But
film.
everything after that I enjoyed.
Exactly.
But it was mostly I think what we kind of already saw in the original teaser. But
Visually, it's stunning. Absolutely.
Oh
stunning.
yeah. No, when she's fighting, it looks epic. Like
they kind of
really
showed
looks
her
well
as the male version as Ping. Is that what she calls herself? Ping?
Yeah.
And the going into battle a little bit, and I feel like I hadn't seen that or at least noticed that in that first teaser. So it was kind because I've been wondering because it's something you can do a little easier in animation sometimes than.
Well, yeah, and the director said she wanted this to be an epic story, and so that we would feel it in a visceral and emotional way. And I think it looks like it definitely has that potential.
I don't. The animated Mulan is not one of my favorites, so I think this is going to be one of those ones for me where I actually walk away thinking the live action remake is better. So I'm
We did get
optimistic for
Don't
it.
see Mulan 2.
we did get a little bit of the music, even though it's not a musical. They used some of the music from the original animated, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they tried to recycle the themes in there.
Was the next thing the other? No, we skipped
Cruella.
over. Yeah, that was after Maleficent, right?
I don't remember.
It went from
in
villain
that.
to villain because they were talking about how
yeah.
Maleficent was a popular, but it's the only one that was told as a villain. She's the only one that's been told from the villain's perspective so far, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, they said we only had one villain, and now we're going to talk
Yeah.
about another this year. Now that, and then it went into Cruella.
Yeah, it just
and it's the backstory. What made Cruella so cruel? How did she get her name? How did she become the fashionista?
How did she time travel to the 70s?
Yeah, because they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's the 1970s," and I'm like, Wait a minute.
1970s
Why did you choose that?
London.
Because you've had a modern day live action 101 Dalmatians, and then you've had the cartoon, which takes place in like the 40s?
It's like the 50s.
Yeah, and so it's just a weird. It was a choice, and basically there was nothing to this panel other than saying Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, and then that they showed her look, which you can see. You can see online now.
And
already.
they showed Emma Stone in a clip they filmed on the very first day of shooting, where there's a Dalmatian kind of like barking off on the side of the corner, and she's getting aggravated by it. And I'm going to my trailer.
Yeah, because he's staring at me. I can't work like this.
Yeah.
He stares at me. It was
But-
silly.
Always love Emma Stone, right? Why not?
I mean, she's very personable.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But keep Dalmatians away from her.
Yeah.
So that was it for Walt Disney Studios. That takes us into Pixar, I believe, if
Should we
I'm
change the
correct.
poster?
It's called Pixar.
We're not going to change the posters out. We'll probably knock the computer over.
Yeah.
We'll knock the microphone over. Just everything. It'll be a disaster.
If you bend it, I'll knock you over.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Yeah. So Pete Docter came out because, of course, since the last Expo, there's been a change in leadership
What?
in Disney Animation. So he's now the chief creative officer for Pixar.
Yeah. So, and it's also it was a nice transition because the first of the two movies that they talked about was Pete Docter's movie, his new one, Soul.
This sounds really interesting to me.
And what was funny though is he made a big point that nothing we are doing at Pixar are sequels.
Yeah.
Or remakes. Everything we're doing is their original films.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be the case with Pixar for the foreseeable future. They're going back to all originals.
That's what Disney Plus is for. The sequels now.
Oh.
Yeah. But so Soul, this was one where when they announced the name, they announced nothing else with it. A month or two back, whenever that was.
This one's later in 2020, though.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yes,
right,
this
okay.
will
November,
probably
I
be
think.
the Thanksgiving
Yeah,
release
yeah.
or closer to Christmas, but right around in there, and this is a very interesting concept.
A very heavy concept, I think,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of how Inside Out kind of pulls heavy concept in an abstract way, and this one's kind of about, everyone's got, and he brought that up. We discussed how everyone has their inner voice, and now we're going to talk about how everyone is born with a soul, and where does that soul come from, and well, your soul, how does it, you're born and you already have personality traits, and those, you get those because the soul goes through this, like, what do they call it, a youth camp or
Yeah, it's like a
Training camp, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Soul Academy.
Yeah.
It's like where they learn.
Yeah, and so
and
then
they get
you
their personalities.
dive into where you go, and
I
so
wish I could remember the name. It was You Something.
Oh, you! I thought he was saying youth. That's why, and I'm
No,
pretty
it
sure
was
it's
you.
you. It's like, I think it is like you academy, or you
I know
camp
the word
or something.
soul is in it.
But yeah, so it's the main character. I can't remember the man's
Joe?
name. Was it
Yeah,
Joe?
it's Joe.
Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe's the name of the main character. He is a middle school band teacher
Yeah.
Joe Gardner.
that would like to eventually hit the big time and be
Music is in his soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, his dream was to play jazz at the half note, and then
Yeah.
for 20 years he suffered through teaching band for 6 periods a day in middle school.
And the man should be dead, based on what we saw from it. He has a knack for putting himself in very dangerous situations, and that leads essentially into him finding himself in the soul training camp that essentially is there because he takes a
Wrong step.
takes a wrong step and finds himself in this other world, and then he has to try to get back to Earth, and of course a sidekick has to pop up to help him out.
Wait, yeah.
22 is the nickname of the site.
Yeah.
Because it's like 800 billion, 600,000,
Yeah,
blah blah blah, and
yeah.
it's its name. But it's also a soul that's been afraid that it finds Earth to be confusing and frightening,
yeah.
and so it's decided that for hundreds of years it's just stayed at the camp.
And the exciting part is that we found out that the voice of Joe is played by none other than Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
But the sidekick, 22, is one of Rhino's favorites
I
ever.
do, yeah, Tina Fey.
She was all fired up.
Yes, yeah. It's fun that it was Amy Poehler in the Inside Out. Now we got Tina Fey in the Pixar family. So, and then we had some other great voice additions here too.
Questlove.
Questlove, yeah.
Daveed Diggs.
Yeah, who I love, and then
Felicia Rashad.
Yeah,
Is Joe's mother.
She did not come out in the way we wanted. We were hoping where she was walking to that stage,
like
she was
this?
doing her shake, and I expected her to be like, "It seems I've arrived to correct a little misstatement. I'm the grandmother." No, but she didn't. But yeah, she's
From
Joe's
Dinosaur.
mom. Yeah,
in the pre-show.
Yeah, sorry, that's my favorite attraction. So
And Daveed Diggs is Joe's neighborhood nemesis.
yeah,
Yeah, so...
And this comes out summer 2020.
yeah, and all-star voice cast there, and a very interesting premise. I
all
think.
on stage too as well. Yeah, they're all out there with us. So
I don't know. I
that's cool.
found the premise, like
I think they
too
were-
complicated.
Like-
I just want to know more about Joe. I want to know about his real life. I don't want to.
See, I think the scene where like Joe takes the misstep.
Yeah.
God, sorry. The misstep is supposed to be like the very quick. Like we're gonna learn about the soul.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn about Joe, and Joe takes the misstep pretty quickly, and that's all. Like I feel like it took them the amount of more time to
That's
explain
probably all we'll see Joe
than it
in the
will
movie,
be
yeah.
to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie is gonna be all about.
There's
going to
be. I think it's going to be interesting because I think we're going to learn about Joe through the soul.
Yeah.
But there's metaphysics involved in this, and the question of reincarnation, and because the whole thing is the souls now are trying to get Joe's soul back to Earth, but it's probably not going to go into Joe's body.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, whether
So-
Joe is in some sort of out-of-body experience, or
Yeah.
if it is going to be that. In the end,
Yeah.
this is going to be a movie that teaches us about death as well.
Ultimately, we're going to see a lot of people having midlife crises over this movie. But another one that will get your heartstrings a tugging. Bye, Rhino.
I'm going to
We'll miss you.
really hard in the back.
Everyone's looking at your butt right now.
That's
I'm
the
sure
new
you. I'm
movie.
sure you
Yeah.
and McGregor did.
The other Pixar movie that was discussed, one that we've known about for basically 2 years. That was the first time it was announced, when it was the suburban fairy tale that kind of has grown and twisted, but the ultimate plot of the movie hasn't, or the inspiration and plot hasn't changed from what was described 2 years ago by Dan Scanlon. The movie, of course, is Onward, and basically it's a story of two brothers, and they lost their dad.
I think
one
the older
was,
brother was still alive.
Yeah, the older brother was
Basil
still
alive,
alive,
Farley.
and the younger brother was not born yet. And it's that longing of what could happen if I have that one more day, that one more chance with my dad, just for a little
And
bit.
the thing
meet
that
him.
pulls me into this is it's kind of based on Dan Scanlon and his brother's true story about a similar thing had happened, and then I think it was I don't know what age he was. If it was when he was 16, a relative had given him like a what do they call, answering machine tape,
Yeah.
and it was the
wow.
first time he'd heard his father's voice, and so it always like kind of stuck with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, so he says it's very personal to him in that, in that way, and so it's kind of cool to hear that.
Michael, was this the other movie that you changed your mind about?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I thought, they start out by, when there's magic in the land, and it's the kind of magical land we all love and all that. But then things change, and they live basically in our world, our type of world, in suburbs. Except the houses are giant mushrooms, and instead of raccoons in your trash, it's unicorns. But I thought, I don't want to see them living like us. But after they showed us an 8-minute clip of it, and after I saw that, and the 2 clips actually,
Yeah.
We had a
and
lot of them.
after I saw it, I thought, I really want to see this film.
Yeah, the first clip, it was absolutely amazing. So we're not going to give away any spoilers on it. I think that's one where it was special that we got to be in the room for it. Eventually, I'm sure it'll be in the trailers and stuff. It's not in the first trailer at all.
No.
But maybe it'll pop up in the next one or later on. But it's definitely going to hit home emotionally to a lot of people, I think. And then the second clip that we saw,
That was funny.
it was a real funny
Just
clip
humor.
where they were trying to trying to use magic in order to help them out on the quest that they're going on for the plot of the movie. And we didn't even mention it, but of course Chris Pratt is the older brother.
Bailey, Barley. They're both
Yeah.
elves. They're elf brothers. Yeah, Barley is the confident, overly confident one who still believes in magic and believes in quests. And then there's Ian, the little brother, who's voiced by Tom Holland. He's one who's never met his father, and he feels that hole
And
in his life.
Do we say who the mother was
No,
yet?
Laura
No.
Lightfoot, who's raised them as a, all her
Single
life
elf.
as a single mom, yeah. And that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this was one of the moments where I squeezed Rhino's leg because
He touched it real good.
I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was absolutely stunning.
She's looking great. She has just overcome a battle with breast cancer.
Yeah.
So it's.
I mean, literally, it doesn't matter if it's Seinfeld, the New Adventures of Old Christine, Veep. She is
Saturday
just.
Night Live. I mean,
She's phenomenal in everything that she does, and that was funny. They
Why
set
is
up.
the carpet wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
Sorry.
My favorite joke that they set up in here was they mentioned Veep. Congratulations on finishing Veep because that just ended its run on HBO. And and of course, many people know you for your other more famous role,
The iconic role,
of Ada from A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
And I love that. That was a nice little.
It was.
little joke.
I about passed when Chris Pratt came out on stage. Well, because he didn't come out on stage; they came out on the floor and then went up on the stage. Not quite as close to us as The Rock.
Yeah.
I didn't get to touch
Yeah,
Chris
all
Pratt
three of them
today.
were there.
Yeah, but Chris Pratt and Tom Holland's enthusiasm for this movie was infectious. I mean, I don't know how their recording sessions went, but I'm sure it's like most animation. They weren't with each other when they recorded.
Yeah.
But, having worked on the Marvel movies together, they at least had a little rapport.
Yeah.
But it really did feel like they're up there like brothers, to the fact that when we saw the first clip, the 8-minute one, they both ran off the stage and sat on the ground side by side each other, and they were watching it, and they were talking back and forth, and
I think a really nice closing of this too was when Tom left.
Yeah.
He turned around. He held his microphone back up and said, "It's been a long week or an interesting week.
It's been a crazy week. I love you 3000.
Yeah. So
Little acknowledgement
I think
to the
he's
Spider-Man
yeah.
controversy.
So I know that he's kind of probably a little. He can't
Stuck
talk
in the
about
middle.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuck in
but
the middle,
and
yeah.
you know where he wants to be.
yeah. But that just from him being out there, he was loving every second of it, but you could tell it's also eating on him when he was making that statement.
Well, because he knows
at the end.
it's a shame too, because a little bit of that I feel like overshadows whatever he's going to appear for right now until it's all squared away and stuff. So it's like
I mean, it's also bothering Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum being asked about it by Variety.
Did you see that last night?
I didn't see the clip.
Oh,
I saw
It
my-
happened. It happened at the Step and Go or whatever here, because it was a Variety reporter, right?
Yeah.
She's
The huge outlets, they get to interview the stars and stuff.
Yeah.
Before and after the panels, and
she was like, what do you think about Spider-Man having to go back, no longer part of the MCU, and having to go back to Sony? I'm not a businessman. I'm sure it's all business. And then he started speaking in another language.
he started doing his best Jeff Goldblum impression of
it
himself.
was hilarious.
Why would he even have an opinion on that matter?
Right, that's
No
what you're
freaking-
saying. You're
Yeah.
like, he technically
I mean,
was in an
'cause he
MCU
was
film,
well, he
but
was in
nothing to do with
Guardians of the
Spider-Man.
Galaxy.
He was the Fly.
He was
I
in
mean,
Thor, not but yeah.
Oh, Thor.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
He was the Fly in Spider-Man. No. Okay.
wrong
I enjoy the joke, Tom.
No.
But we're gonna move on from
Okay,
that.
cool.
We're gonna wrap up with Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Yes, well, we clearly knew where this was headed today. We knew what they were trying to make the finale, but there was a surprise in here. I felt like before that though.
Yes.
Well, Chief Creative Officer Jennifer Lee, because John Lasseter's position got split in the two, so Jennifer Lee came out for this one.
Yes.
Who I do
And she
really
was
like Jennifer Lee
wonderful.
quite
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah, I
She-
can see her taking on even more responsibility in the future.
Yeah, I will say with all the hosts, since we're getting towards the end here, all the hosts that they had throughout the entire panel was amazing. Kevin Feige's always awesome.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy, I know so many people out there hate her, but she clearly she has a passion.
They hate her,
for
I
what
think,
she
without
does.
even understanding her importance and her legacy to Hollywood that extends beyond Star Wars.
But I don't hate her.
Yeah.
I don't hate her.
She's
a
Frank
lot
Marshall's
of people
wife
do.
too. Who's they together? This is a powerhouse that made modern cinema. Basically.
And Sean Bailey, it irritates me that like no one claps when he comes out, but like think of all these
He's good,
live
too. Yeah,
action
he's really good.
Disney movies, even though they're remakes and some people hate them. I mean, this is a man that has his hands in these.
His name's not out there like all the rest.
It's
No,
not,
it's not.
but
Yeah.
he's the one making all this money too, just
Yeah.
like the rest of them
Yeah,
are. He deserves the same amount of credit.
We love our boy Alan Horn though.
Alan Horn, yes, and he
Who
is the
showed-
overall host of the event.
Showed his photo on the cover of a karate magazine from 1977 at the end of the Marvel panel,
I
and
thought
was
it
like.
was fake.
I don't know
No,
if
it
it
was
was
real.
or
It was
not.
real,
And he
yeah.
was like, "I've got a stance,"
Yeah.
and I asked Kevin to put me in a Marvel movie, and I'm waiting.
Yeah, and
It's been a couple months.
I've been laughing at Alan Horn the
He
past
makes
couple
funny
expos
jokes.
just because he makes dad jokes, like
Yeah.
the worst dad
Yeah.
jokes in the world, and I didn't
He
realize
doesn't
this.
seem all that comfortable up there.
But I see a comfortability. It's
Okay.
just that because he tells the dad jokes, no one laughs, and I even leaned over to Rhino and I was like, I just want someone to laugh,
Yeah.
and because I feel like if he gets that one laugh, then he'll be perfect with it. But I didn't even realize that before Disney, his entire history with Warner Brothers, and I mean, he's basically the guy behind bringing the Harry Potter movies to life and a slew of other stuff, and he worked on Seinfeld, like he said, and in the presentation as well too. We got a great person to be in charge of the Walt Disney
I think he's
Studios
probably going to
overall.
retire in the next some odd years. I
Yeah,
don't think
which
he's
is
going to be. He's going to be ahead for much longer. You know.
Yeah, but
See.
like him for what he is. But let's finish up with these last two movies. What was the first one we talked about?
It was their Thanksgiving 2020 film, Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yes.
And it sounds good. It's filled with, otherworldly creatures and all that. It's inspired by the stories and culture of Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And this is Disney's epic fantasy adventure for next year. It takes place in Kamadra, this is a reimagined Earth, and this is a land that reveres dragons. And this Earth, there's all these different clans in all these different lands, and the Kamadra has been invaded by a dark force, and Rhea goes out on a quest to find the last dragon to save them.
Yeah.
yeah,
The animation looks really good. There's a lot of talent involved with the making of this because I know the writer of this was also the same writer of
Crazy
Crazy
Rich
Rich
Asians, and so it's kind of cool. I also like this exploration into other cultures that maybe haven't been represented very frequently
Right.
on screen.
Well,
so it's kind of cool too.
and that's what helps is that the writer. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but I believe she said that she is from Malaysia.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
was the first. She used to love Disney, and they showed photos of her when she was a little kid.
Yeah,
her
they-
grandmother would put on like plays with her cousins and her.
I think
So they
it's
did
Zelda
Snow
and-
White,
Yeah.
and she was Snow White, and all her cousins were the.
Forest creatures.
Yeah, so it's like Disney's definitely in her soul, and then also actually being from where the movie is taking place, that adds that next level of authenticity. And then I don't know if it's her connection with Crazy Rich Asians or what, but Aquafina is going to be playing one of the major characters
The
in
dragon.
the movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What?
We'll just say, yeah. It's kind of a dual role, if you remember correctly.
Mhm.
Okay.
Her character
I
is
remember.
Cece.
Sisu.
Sisu.
No, it wasn't Sisu.
Sisu.
Yeah.
Sisu, sorry.
Excuse you. It was Cassie Steele is the voice of the Rhea, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I guess I looked it up too, because that one, I was not familiar with her at all. So I looked it up after, and I guess she comes from British and Filipino descent. So, because at first I did get nervous that they
cast-
miscast
yeah,
it based on when
we had
she
a regular
was.
Donny Osmond situation.
Yeah, it definitely, because they're taking all these steps to definitely hit authenticity and bring in new voices and make sure that they are being diverse in their choices. And I was like, they're just gonna pull Emma Stone in it too, then do another Aloha all over again. But
It was
They
cool to see Aquafina on stage, though.
Yeah,
I thought
and
that was fun. She's
the
always a big
clips-
personality.
looked promising. Looked like any other Disney animated movie where there's a heroine, some action, some humor involved, and definitely beautiful animation. But we ended off the panel with what we all knew would end the panel because they always end animation with a big show-stopping number, and so there was never any other choice but Frozen 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
And this is the November 22nd, 2019 big blockbuster.
I'm kind of at a loss for words on this.
Well, they said they revisited it because there were so many outstanding questions that we as fans
we were begging
for
this.
Yes.
Where do Elsa's powers come from?
Right. Why does Elsa have powers?
Why?
Why is Anna the way she is? Where were the parents going?
Why doesn't Anna have powers?
So there are mysteries, and these mysteries had to be answered. So, and the past is not what we all thought it was.
The past is not the past?
Oh my God!
It's not the past that we thought it was. And of course, they have to go on this quest to find out what is the truth, and that leads them to an enchanted forest. And the Frozen 1 and 2 together make one epic story.
I was excited because they basically, I was excited about the talent that came out because it was revealed that Evan Rachel Wood will be doing the voice of the mother in a flashback, and then Sterling K. Brown.
Did she not have a voice the last time?
I don't think they really spoke much than like a
not a
word
lot.
or two,
It was just it was more when Elsa froze Anna.
Yeah.
And, they had those scenes, and when they were leaving.
Sterling K. Brown I love Sterling K. Brown and everything. I've been following him since like Supernatural days, so it's crazy.
You follow a lot of folks.
I tell you, that one I was like, this guy's gonna be in a lot of stuff. He's good. And sure enough, I was right.
And he portrays he voices Lieutenant Matisse.
Yes,
of the guard.
And we did get to see one clip from one very long clip from the movie. It was.
Well, we saw a little bit of
the storytelling.
The mom.
Oh yeah. Those two brief moments.
Which was the first time they got to see their animated parts too. So like Sterling K. Brown was like jumping up and down on the stage, where he's like, "That's me."
Yeah, in terms of heft and for us sitting there, it was like they couldn't bring them out and then not show anything else that featured them. So it's like they kind of were backed in a corner where they had to show those clips. Otherwise, I don't think they necessarily would have, because the Evan Rachel Wood one could have been a fun, surprising plot point in there, but they chose to go the other way a bit. And
then they brought out the whole cast. Everyone.
No, that was after they played the 8-minute clip.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I thought we'd already talked about it.
Well, no, it's the clip. So basically, the clip shows the whole gang's reunited. They're playing some family games and
charades.
Yeah, and it's a funny, cute little moment. I was actually like, "Oh, this is pleasant." They're making some jokes that are very. They made fun of themselves.
At first, I'm like, okay, they made this just for the Expo because this is really, really silly.
Yeah, well, and stuff could change up in it too, because that happened last time around with Ralph Breaks the Internet, and they changed around some dialogue that happened with C-3PO, and if I remember correctly, they completely removed R2-D2 from it. But anyways, with that, then it kind of leads into, from what we saw, it was one of the first songs in the movie that Elsa gets to sing, and it's her power ballad, and it just did not hit like Let It Go for me.
I don't know that it was supposed to be Let It Go, though. I think it was just a single.
Oh, yeah,
it absolutely was.
That's the single. I mean,
screaming enough.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely.
I'm surprised that the folks of Arendelle didn't open their windows and say, "Shut up! We're trying to sleep!"
It to me looks like it's going to be another movie of Elsa making bad decisions without telling anybody what's going on because her parents abused her.
She already did that. She already did. She did
don't
that in
learn.
the clip.
She don't learn.
Yes, and then the clip ends, and then all four of the main characters. So we had Idina Menzel come out, and Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, and
Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff, thank you.
And he had his stuffed
the Mind Hunter himself. who he threw into the audience at the end.
Did he really?
Knocked someone out. No,
not,
he didn't.
not to our side, to the other
to
side.
the other side.
It was close. But yeah, then they came out and they sang a song where all of their characters got to.
Sounded like
perform
the
in.
opening number, maybe.
Yeah.
Close to the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this to me was very anticlimactic. Like
I thought
entirely.
it was nice.
I did not care for the
It
song.
can't be anticlimactic. It's the to the panel because I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's the
Yeah,
opening
yeah,
song
yeah.
of the movie, but
panel.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind the song.
I thought it was nice. Yeah, I liked it.
Okay.
But-
I'm-
Oh,
I
my.
enjoyed the song, but you're right. It's not the way to end
No, he hated
end
the
a
song too, though.
2.5
Yeah,
hour
I
presentation.
didn't care for the song. I didn't like either songs, and I still adamantly defend Frozen. I think the Frozen is a good movie, and I love the music
Hey,
in
here's
it.
where the first one is. Oh, down there in the garbage.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
those are where my sights are.
Well, I like Frozen. Frozen 2 does not leave me hopeful in that, but in terms of the finale, too, I felt the same way 2 years ago with Coco when it ended, because they ended the panel with "Remember Me," and it was all
with
this
the
fanfare.
same, confetti. I feel like
Yeah.
it's been recycled and held for 2
And
years.
with
Swept it
that,
up.
yeah.
And
with that, I was like, "Oh, this does not have me excited for Coco." And then Coco comes out, and it's one of my favorite animated
Yeah,
movies
yeah.
in general. So who knows? Maybe Frozen 2, I could turn around on it.
And
but-
it got worse because, well, we can come back to all that, but then Ellen Horn comes out and says, "Thank you, goodbye."
yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
And that was
what?
it.
It's
I'm like,
over.
wait, what?
Get out.
And on the way out, we got photos of him in his karate magazine on
Yeah,
the front cover.
that I'm
No, we
treasuring.
didn't get those.
No, but yeah, no. Anyone in the
Wait,
panel
hold
got,
on, let me see.
yeah, we got Rise of the Skywalker, Frozen 2, and an Onward poster. And
Yeah.
And they're nice. They're
Yeah.
they're laminated kind of things.
So
Embossed.
it's very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So a fun panel. It's always fun, and see what happens 2 years from now if they do that same format, break them up again. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and find out on that. But this, while it was fun, the big coverage comes tomorrow again with the Disney Parks presentation, and that happens, I believe, at 10:30
10:30
a.m. Pacific time. So don't know how long that'll go over or go under. It's going to go over. It always goes over. Everything goes over. So, of course...
Like you're going overboard.
Yeah, I am. But, of course, we'll be back with our coverage in terms of that presentation tomorrow and all our thoughts on that. We might do one more today, give or take. I know it's Saturday night. Y'all are busy, and we have to get on the showroom floor and actually see what's on there.
Oh,
because
yeah. Barely
because
walking
We're
we're-
gonna
around.
try to get into at least one more panel.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to be back later on tonight. We'll definitely be back with you tomorrow, though. So thank you all so much for watching this. Remember, if you want to find out anytime we have any of these live streams here from D23 Expo, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that bell button so you get notified anytime we are going live there. And continue following us on social. Twitter, we're Twitter, we're the Diz. Instagram, we're the .diz. And YouTube, you're here, so you know how to find us here. So we'll see you again later with another broadcast. But until then, everyone, just take care. See you next time.
Bye.
Lost it.